Okay, this is word problem number 19 on the supplement page 49. It's exactly like numbers 19 and 20 on page 50. So let this model help you do 19 and 20 on page 50 by yourself. So the price of a share of stock in this corporation was $74 2 weeks ago. 7 weeks ago, the price was $59 per share. So our job is to write a linear equation that will find the price of a share of stock W weeks from now. So the main challenge is figuring out which is X and which is Y, or which is independent and which is dependent. And the wording in red that I've boxed in blue, you're looking for the price based on the number of weeks. So you could think of the weeks as your X, or your independent variable, because the number of weeks that we're going back to will determine the price of the stock. So the price of the stock, you could think of that as your Y, or your dependent variable. So the price that we'll be quoting depends on the number of weeks that we're going back. So if I have my XY ordered pair, I could set up a corollary order pair with weeks and price, weeks being the X and price being the Y. Here's my slope-intercept form of the linear equation, and I need to set up my ordered pairs. 2 weeks ago, and since it's in the past, I would represent 2 weeks ago as -2. 2 weeks ago, my price was $74. 7 weeks ago, my price was $59. So I now have a pair of points that would lie on the linear equation that would describe this word problem. So the first thing I need to do is figure out the slope, or the rate of change. So the rate of change is 3. So to interpret this into something that would help explain the problem, the stock's price is growing $3 each week. So the price of the stock is growing $3 each week. It's your rate of change. And here's my equation, y equals mx plus b. Well, I now know that the m will become the letter 3. So I can take either ordered pair with an x and a y, arrange my equation making the proper substitutions, and then I can solve for b, which would act as a base price that we'll be comparing everything to. So on the way to solving for b, if I choose the point -274, if I solve this for b, I see that positive 80 equals b. So everything is being based off of a price of positive 80. And actually, positive 80 represents the price of the stock today, now, at week 0. To answer the question, part A, the equation that represents this word problem mathematically would look like this. And then changing the variables to reflect the word problem, the price grows by $3 each week, comparing to a base price of 80. So part B of the problem asks us to predict the price 5 weeks ago. So I can now take my equation that I've set up and let x be -5. -5 to represent 5 weeks ago. The price of the stock 5 weeks ago was $65. 80 minus 15 is 65. There are other ways to do the same problem, or to do problems like this, but your first challenge is to figure out who's independent and who's dependent, and then that lets you associate with an ordered pair x and y, and then you have all of the skills to take it from that point, finding the slope, finding the y-intercept, or figuring out the b, and here is your mathematical representation of the equation, and here we're just changing the variables so that it reflects the price in the weeks, and actually this x, if it were a w, it would better reflect the word problem. Try the next two on page 50, try those using the same process, and we'll discuss it in class.